The words hit me like a thunderbolt, changing everything I thought I knew about myself. You're stronger than you realize, and it's time you saw that too. Mrs. Henderson's eyes held mine with such conviction that I couldn't look away. In that moment, sitting in her kitchen while the rain pounded outside, my best friend's mother became the unexpected guide I never knew I needed. If you're enjoying this story so far, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more content that explores the unexpected moments that change our lives. Growing up in Oak Ridge, I was always Jamie's friend, the quiet shadow beside the star quarterback. Jamie Henderson had everything: confidence, popularity, and a perfect family. His mom, Diana Henderson, was that rare combination of warmth and wisdom that made their house feel more like home than my own empty apartment ever did. My own mother had left when I was 8, leaving behind only fading memories and the lingering scent of her perfume. My father worked double shifts to keep us afloat, which meant I spent most evenings alone with microwaved dinners and homework. The Henderson house became my refuge, a place where someone asked about my day and actually waited for an answer. That rainy Tuesday in April wasn't supposed to be significant. Jamie had texted saying practice was running late, but I'd already started walking to their house. "Just wait there," he wrote. "Mom's home." The sky opened up halfway there, and I arrived soaked and shivering. Mrs. Henderson answered the door with a concerned laugh. "Good grief, Alex. You look like you went swimming with your clothes on. Jamie's still at practice?" I nodded, water dripping onto their welcome mat. "Well, don't just stand there. Bathroom's upstairs, grab a towel and I'll find you some dry clothes. Jamie won't mind." 10 minutes later, wearing borrowed sweatpants and a faded Oak Ridge High t-shirt, I sat at their kitchen counter while Mrs. Henderson made hot chocolate. Not the instant kind from packets, but the real stuff with melted chocolate and steamed milk that filled the kitchen with comfort. "Jamie should be home soon," she said, placing a mug in front of me. "Everything okay at home? Haven't seen your dad in a while." I stirred my hot chocolate, watching the mini marshmallows dissolve. "He picked up another shift. The factory's offering overtime." She nodded, understanding in her eyes. "And how are you doing with all that?" Something about her genuine concern, the warmth of the kitchen after the cold rain, and maybe the fact that no one had really asked me that question in months, it all collided at once. My throat tightened. "I'm fine," I managed, the practiced response I gave everyone. Mrs. Henderson didn't speak for a moment. She just sipped her hot chocolate, her eyes never leaving my face. Then she set down her mug. "You know, Alex, I've watched you grow up alongside Jamie for almost 10 years now. You've always been the steady one, the rock. When Jamie was spiraling about college applications, you were the voice of reason. When he bombed that chemistry final, you stayed up all night helping him prepare for the retake." I shrugged uncomfortably. "That's what friends do." "Yes, but who does that for you?" The question hung between us. Outside, the rain intensified, drumming against the windows. "I'm used to handling things myself," I said finally. Mrs. Henderson leaned forward then, her voice dropping to almost a whisper as she said those words that would stay with me forever. "You're stronger than you realize, and it's time you saw that too. But strength isn't about carrying everything alone. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is let others help carry the weight." Something cracked inside me then, a wall I'd built so carefully over years of pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. My eyes burned with tears I'd never allowed myself to shed. "I'm just..." My voice cracked, "I'm just so tired of being alone." What followed was an hour of conversation more honest than any I'd had in years. I told her about the college applications I was struggling with alone, the scholarship essays I couldn't get right, the fear that I'd never escape our small town, and the crushing responsibility of not disappointing my hard-working father. Mrs. Henderson listened. Really listened. And then she started sharing resources, books that had helped Jamie, websites for scholarships I hadn't found, and offered to review my essays. But more than that, she offered understanding. "You know," she said, refilling my mug, "your father reminds me a bit of myself after my divorce from Jamie's dad. Trying so hard to be everything for my child that I forgot to be present. He loves you tremendously, Alex. He's just lost in trying to provide." By the time Jamie finally burst through the door, complaining about his coach and the rain, something fundamental had shifted for me. His mom had seen me, really seen me, and in doing so, helped me see myself differently. The following weeks brought changes. With Mrs. Henderson's encouragement, I had a real conversation with my father. It was awkward and halting at first, but something broke open when I finally told him I missed him, not just his presence in the house but his presence in my life. The look on his face, surprise followed by guilt and then determination, was the beginning of our new relationship. Mrs. Henderson helped me polish my scholarship essays, and when the acceptance letter came from State University with a partial scholarship, she was the second person I told, right after my dad. She cried as if I were her own child. Senior year transformed from a countdown to escape into a foundation for the future. Jamie and I both got into state, but more importantly, I learned that strength wasn't about standing alone against the world. It was about building connections that support you when you can't support yourself. On graduation day, after the ceremony, Mrs. Henderson found me in the crowd. She hugged me tightly and whispered, "See? I told you that you were stronger than you knew. I'm so proud of who you're becoming." Years have passed since that rainy afternoon in her kitchen. I graduated from state and went on to graduate school. My relationship with my father deepened into something neither of us thought possible. Jamie and I remained friends through college and beyond, though our paths took different directions. And Mrs. Henderson? She became a constant in my life, a mentor, a supporter, and a reminder that sometimes the family we need comes from unexpected places. Her whispered words in that kitchen became a mantra that carried me through my darkest moments. I was stronger than I realized, and I never had to face that strength alone. So if you're watching this and feeling like no one sees you, like you're carrying the weight of expectations alone, remember that connection often comes from unexpected places, and sometimes the most important truths come in whispers from people who see the strength in us before we see it ourselves. Life isn't about weathering storms alone. It's about finding the people who will sit with you in the kitchen, make you hot chocolate, and remind you of your strength when you've forgotten it.